Hey guys, I'm gonna let Facebook build us an audience. We'll just listen to a little music. So let me find us on here before we get started, okay? I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. So let's see if I can find us. We are going to talk about some anti-cancerous foods, okay? So I'm just looking for us here on Facebook. All right, there we are. Let's see. Anti-cancerous. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining the broadcast. My name is Dr. Trey. I am the creator and the chief flavor specialist of Dr. Flavor Spices. Dr. Flavor Spices was made with you in mind. Our spices have over 7 to 10 herbs and spices that will create an amazing, amazing meal. And guess what? It's lower in salt, there's no MSG, and it is natural. So I am excited to be here. I am a wife, mother, and a licensed pharmacist of over 13 years. And my mission is to get families back to the tables, eating a delicious, healthy meal. And the reason I wanted to create this spice line was because I know that with small changes, we can live an overall better, healthier life, okay? So if you're just joining in, make sure you share, give me some emojis, okay? So I'm gonna turn off our music so we can get started, okay? So let's see, I'm gonna invite some people. Let me start inviting some people to join us, okay? And I hope, like I said, you guys are, let's see, having a wonderful day. It's actually getting a little cool here. I'm so excited. I don't know about you guys, but we are having some awesome cooler weather now. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little chilly this morning and today when I went for my nice brisk walk this morning. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, I wanna talk to you today about anti-cancer foods. And yes, this is real. There are foods that we can eat that are gonna be nutritious to our body, nutrient dense foods, meaning they contain a lot of nutrients that is going to help our cells and help our bodies, okay, to fight off those free radicals. So, you know it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you don't know, I'm wearing my pink lipstick in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I think this is something that a lot of people need to be more aware of and understand that there are some things that we can do to either slow or to prevent cancer from manifesting in our bodies, okay? And I want to talk about food, okay? But cancer itself, basically, our bodies are made up of water, organ, and cells. And those cells are always working, constantly working. And when those cells divide, and there is an issue with the division of those cells and they start to over-replicate, that's how cancer starts. There's an over-replicating of cells or an overproduction of cells that can then form into tumors. Now, those tumors can either be benign, meaning that they're not cancerous, or they can be cancerous, okay? And when those cells are overproducing and they turn into tumors, they have to live, right? So what they do is they form a supply of blood. And that's called angiogenesis. That's the process that is called to keep that blood supply so that cancer can continue to grow. And guess what it needs? It needs glucose, which is sugar. Hey, Shardon, how are you? Thanks for joining. It needs sugar to survive. So we want to make sure that we are doing the right things to help to prevent either the cancer from growing in our bodies or to prevent those cells from even being in a state where they can survive, okay? So we're going to talk about some wonderful, amazing foods that's going to help our bodies. One of the biggest issues with cancer is that it causes inflammation in the body. Yes, inflammation. And there are a lot of foods that cause inflammation in the body. Now, if we can do some things just with our food, that is awesome, because you know there are so many other factors as it relates to cancer. Hereditary, genes, the atmosphere that we live in, the water, the air that we breathe, the products that we use on our bodies, on our skin, in our hair. There are just so many factors. So we want to at least address one of them, which is the food that we eat. So when you think about your body is made up of various different systems. Those cells communicate to one another. The hormones speak to those cells and tells your cells what to do. And that's why it's so important that we are eating the right foods and that our body is communicating properly. Have you guys ever played that game? I think it's called telephone. And it's when you tell someone, I went down the street, and then by the time it gets to the end, it's something completely different. Well, it's the same things with our cells. Our cells have to communicate. And when that communication is interrupted or it is not received properly, that's what can cause that overgrowth of cells. And that's why it's so important that we feed our body the right foods and that we do what? We eat to live. Yes, we eat to live. And in the society that we live in today, what do we see a lot of? We see a lot of decadent food. We see chocolates and drizzles and sugar and fried food and all these different things that make us want to eat it, because what appetizes us most is what we see. So sometimes we have to first start with our mind and do a mindset check to get our minds in check, to understand that we have to eat to live. We have to do things that are going to keep our bodies moving and keep us living a longer, healthier life. So I'm going to talk to you about my top 5 foods that we can eat that is going to help us, okay? So the first one, we touched on it last week, are green leafy vegetables. Hey Angela, thank you so much for being on. Green leafy vegetables, yes, green leafy vegetables. So that would be things like collards, yes. Spinach, yes. Kale, yummers, dandelion. Those are all wonderful, wonderful green leafy vegetables because they're going to provide us with vitamin K. Yes. They're going to also give us that magnesium, and we need that vitamin K. We need that magnesium. And all of those wonderful vitamins are going to be great for our cells. And remember, those cells are talking to one another and they need good things to speak to the cells, right? So that's the vitamin K that we're going to get, and we're going to also get some magnesium. Yes, those are things that we need. Then the next thing that I want to talk about are cruciferous vegetables. Yes, those are vegetables like broccoli, cabbage. Yes, those vegetables are wonderful to our bodies. They have a lot of vitamin C, and vitamin C is like the super antioxidant. And the reason you hear a lot of people talk about antioxidants on our skin, antioxidants that we eat, and the reason that we need those antioxidants is because there are free radicals in our bodies, and we want to counteract those free radicals, right? And those free radicals is what's going to cause cancerous growth, and we want to make sure that we stop that, okay? So we want to make sure we're adding that broccoli, cabbage into our diet. So that's our second food that I want to really touch on that we should be eating. Let's go to number 3. So omega-3 rich foods. We talked about this last week, and you'll see me post a lot of salmon. Yes, salmon is very high in omega-3. But one thing we need to make sure is that we're eating wild caught salmon, which sometimes can be difficult, especially if you live in a place like Atlanta. Hey, yes, Atlanta, and you're not next to the coast. So therefore, usually you see a lot of farm raised. Now, farm raised is not the best choice. Excuse me while I drink. I'm drinking some green tea, and green tea is actually really, really, really good. Okay, but we're not going to talk about the tea, but tea is really good. This is one of my go-to drinks I didn't put any sugar or no honey. It's just fruit and green tea. So omega-3 rich foods, salmon is a really, really, really big one. And you guys see me cooking it a lot. Yes, salmon is really good for you. It's good for brain function. It is good as an anti-inflammatory. And like I said, one of the things that we want to make sure we're doing is decreasing the inflammation in our bodies. Yes, decrease inflammation. And a lot of the foods that we're eating causes an inflammatory response in our bodies, causing people to be congested, phlegm congestion. It causes people to have pain in their body. And we want to make sure that we decrease that, okay? So another thing we get from our omega-3 that we can get our omega-3 from is from sardines. I'm not a big sardine fan, but sardines do provide a lot of omega-3. Yes, it does. A lot of omega-3 is in sardines. So if that's something that you enjoy eating, just look at the sodium content though, because when they come in those cans, they do have to preserve it. But it does have a lot of omega-3 as well as mackerel. And mackerel, you can find it like those little tiny little fishes. You can find them in the store or you can get them in the can. But like I said, just be mindful of the sodium. Let me see what people are saying. Oh, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I'm trying to make sure that I teach us because our health is our wealth. And Angela, you do an amazing job of exercising and making sure that you are on top of your health. And exercise is really good as well. To make sure that we're doing that every single day or at least 5 days a week. So another food that is packed with lots of antioxidants, bioflavonoids, are berries. So I used to have this big crush with blueberries. Yes, 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 yes. I love blueberries. I would put them in my smoothie. So blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, those are great. Think about when you see those colors in the fruit, that lets you know that it has a lot of bioflavonoids, and that is good for our bodies. It's going to help to get rid of the free radical damage that is happening in our bodies just from everyday wear and tear from being outside, being in the sun, being around microwaves, all of those things. So we want to make sure we add that to our diets, okay? So let's go to number 4. So we're going to talk about one of my favorites, which is ginger. Yes, ginger. Ginger is amazing. I love ginger. Now, if you've never had ginger before, it doesn't look as pretty when you go to the store, but it's a root. It's actually a root. And ginger and turmeric look very much alike. They are roots. And a lot of different people use them to flavor their foods. I use them in Dr. Flavor Spices, garlic, ginger, lime. I absolutely love ginger, but you can actually buy fresh ginger and grate it. You can use it in tea, and you can also use it in your food coupled with Dr. Flavor Spices. Yes, you can if you want a little bit more ginger. But ginger has amazing antiseptic properties, antiviral properties, as well as anti-inflammatory properties. And you know how when you eat ginger, it gives you that little warm feeling? So that warm feeling that you are having is allowing the body to fight off those diseases and viruses and things of that nature. So you want to make sure that you add ginger to your diet. Then I want to talk about turmeric. Turmeric is also, it's used widely in a lot of medications in India. It's a natural medication that people use. They also use it to flavor foods. Yes, they use it to flavor foods, and I actually use that as well in our Southwest blend. But turmeric is great. It is great for your skin. Yes, it brightens the skin. It's amazing inside of your body. It helps also with that inflammatory response as well. So you want to make sure that you're adding some turmeric. And so you may say, hey, I don't want to go ahead and buy these things. Our spices that I use, I wanted to make sure that when I blended these spices, not only did I just make it for the flavor, but I wanted to use spices that were good for you and herbs that were good for you. So you won't get the source, the amount that you need, but it is a start, especially if you've never tried something like turmeric or ginger, okay? So that's 4 and 5. I mean, that's 4. I kind of added those together. So 5 and 5, I have 2. Garlic and oregano. Yes, garlic is really, really, really good for you. It's good for your heart. It's a great anti-cancer drug, mostly in its raw state. Yes, in its raw state, it's it's better for your body as far as decreasing the inflammation in your body. And I know I keep talking about inflammation, but that inflammatory response that is happening in our body is causing these cells to keep growing and growing and growing and growing. We want to make sure that we either stop it or we decrease it. So that inflammatory response that is happening from the foods that we're eating, when you're eating processed foods, when you're eating white sugar, when you're eating pasta, when you're eating refined sugars, which would be sugar, regular white sugar, or it would be sugar that you may find like high fructose corn syrup that's found in a lot of juices. Even in our kids' foods and drinks, you find this. Even in these energy bars that we think are healthy, we're finding the high fructose corn syrup in there. And those types of sugars are not good for us. They actually feed yeast, which is not good. And we already have yeast in our bodies, especially in our gut, but it causes an overgrowth. So we want to make sure we're keeping our body in a well-balanced state, okay? And that starts with the foods that we eat. And it's important that we understand that, yes, we can eat other foods. I'm not telling you can't eat any of those foods, but just be mindful that if you want to live and if you want to be healthy, you have to be mindful of the foods that you are eating, okay? So I wanted to jump on is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you don't know, breast cancer affects women each and every day. It is the #1 cancer in women that affects us, okay? And that's why it's important that you do go to the doctor. It is important that you are doing your exams, that you're checking your body. One of the places that it likes to invade is our lymph nodes, and our lymphatic system is what helps to cleanse our blood and helps with the immune responses. So if our lymphatic system is not working properly, then we're gonna be more prone to diseases. So it's so important that we do a lot of different things. We're exercising, that we're eating healthy foods. We talked about 5 foods that are going to help you. That's going to be your green leafy vegetables. Yes, green leafy vegetables. So how can we add this in, Dr. Trey? You can just start adding a side salad to your meals. That would help you to get in some of those green leafy vegetables, okay? Your berries, you can make you smoothies that has the protein. You can even add some green leafy vegetables, whether you want to add dandelion, whether you want to add spinach or kale. So you can start drinking smoothies in the morning. That will help you to get that into your system, okay? And then our broccoli and our cabbage. Cabbage is amazing raw, and it is amazing cooked. But those two you want to make sure you cook just to help with the absorption of those vitamins that you need, okay? And then the turmeric and the ginger. You could either buy the root and start using it in teas. That's amazing. You can do that, or you can just buy the powders. They do have the powder. But like I said, in 3 of my spices, I do use the turmeric and the ginger. So I wanted to jump on because this topic is something that affects too many women. We just need the knowledge, and we need to know what we need to do to prevent these diseases from happening to us. I know that either you know someone who's had cancer, someone who was recently diagnosed with cancer, or even someone who may have not survived cancer. But we have to make sure that we fight back, and we have to fight back each and every day with the decisions that we make as far as the foods that we choose to eat. And we want to make sure that we're eating foods that are going to create us to have an overall healthy, balanced life. We want to make sure that we're drinking our water, that we're exercising, and that we're eating those foods that are going to decrease the inflammation. So we talked about those 5 foods, but we also want to address the foods that are going to cause us to have that inflammatory response and feed those bad cells, feed things that are not good for our body. So of course, that's going to be our processed foods. That's going to be refined sugar, alcohol. All of those things are not good for us. So make sure that you are thinking a little bit more wisely when you're in the store. You can eat meat, but it is best that you eat meat that is grass-fed or organic, and that can be a little bit more pricey. So you may want to look into a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle, which is completely fine. You just want to make sure that you're doing what's best for your body and what's going to help your body. So I hope this helped. Thank you so much for being here. I know you guys are busy. Thank you so very, very much. If you have just joined tonight, know that I am Dr. Trey, that I love you, that I created these spices with you in mind. But as a licensed pharmacist, I also want to address some real life issues that are happening to people. And I want you to know that food can be therapeutic to our bodies, okay? And that we can eat foods that are going to help us to live a longer and healthier life. I want you guys to get back in the kitchen. I want you guys eating healthier foods. And I want you to know that I've taken the thinking out of cooking for you. You no longer have to cut up all of these different things or use so many blends of spices. I've done it for you. So thank you so much for joining me this week on our anti-cancer food edition of the Cookie Sheet Life. And I'm calling this the Cookie Sheet Life because guess what? Everything that I talk about can be cooked on the cookie sheet. Yes, it can. So we'll resume back next week. But make sure you guys do something, learn something that's going to help you to live a healthier life. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I have listed my website. So if you want to sign up for free recipes, go ahead and do so, okay? You'll get 3 recipes that'll come to you, and you get to learn a little bit more about our flavors. If you go to our website, you can see what we have to offer. So you guys take care. You have a wonderful day. And I am wearing my pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You guys be blessed. Take care. Bye-bye.